Hello everybody, thanks for joining us in our Stampin' Up! Mega Spring Facebook party. I'm Susan and I have a SIP card project to share with you today. SIP stands for Stamps, Ink, and Paper, and that's all we're using to make my card project today. So as you can see, here's the card I'm going to show you. I've used the Forever Blossoms stamp set from the spring catalog, and I'm using a sample piece of the Bird Ballad Designer Series paper, which is in our annual catalog. And maybe it's fate, but I really loved the paper when the annual catalog came out. And when the spring catalog came out, I just really liked these blossoms. Then as I started looking at things together, I realized that this image is very, very similar to the image in these papers. So I'm putting them together today for our project. So as you can see, I'm using a petal pink card base. And we're going to have a sample of this bird paper. Now very simply, we're just going to mount this paper on a piece of coordinating cardstock, the basic gray. Now I picked the gray because the birds in the sample are gray. If you picked different birds, you might want to back it in a different coordinating color, but this worked really well for me. Then that's going to get mounted on the front of our card. But before we do that, we're going to do some background stamping. So I'm going to bring in my sentiment. Okay, so I've mounted on my clear block the "Cherish every moment of this day, you mean so much to me." And what I did was I placed them on my grid paper, just the stamps, face up, and then I put my block down on top to get them on one block. So I'm going to ink these with my Memento Black. And remember, I haven't attached my birds yet, but I have them placed where I want them. And then I can see through my block to get my sentiment on there. Perfect. Now, I'm going to pick this back up for a moment, and we're going to bring in our petal pink stamp pad. So I'm using color on color, so the same color ink as the same color cardstock. I'm going to ink up my block. Actually, I like to do it this way better. Put the stamp down and put the ink to the stamp on these larger stamps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this in half now because I don't really want to stamp on the back. I want to stamp close to but not overlapping on my sentiment. So I'm going to get this as close as possible on this one. Then I'm going to re-ink, and I'm going to stamp down here in the corner, get some blossoms in there, ink again. So I'm just doing some repetitive stamping here just to get some of these images to fill that background petal pink, and then that's going to pull in the texture that we see in our paper. So I'm going to stamp this one around the edge, and then I think if I do one more I can get it around this corner. So I'm just going to come in like this. So I've got some active edge stamping going on. Now I'm going to bring in that mounted piece of Bird Ballad, and I'm going to pop it up on dimensionals because even though we've background stamped to add some texture to our card, we can add a little bit of pop by popping up the focal point. So I'm just going to square this off with the edges of my card, and we're good. So now for the inside, I'm going to do a little more stamping. So I'm going to ink up my blossoms again, and I'm going to stamp personalized stationery for the inside. So I'm just going to stamp the edge on the top and the edge on the bottom, and then we'll adhere that into our card. So just kind of dressing up the inside a little bit, but it won't be too distracting to your message. So we'll just open our card and snail that in place. Okay, so there's the inside. Now, well, I always say that if you're going to make a card, you should dress up your envelope. So we're not going to have a naked envelope. We're going to stamp the same flowers here on the corner. So everything coordinates and matches. Now, if you want to add a little bit of bling, a little bit of sparkle, the petal pink sequins that come in our basic sequence coordinate, obviously, because it's Stampin' Up!, with the papers and the dies. So I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkle with these self-adhesive sequins, and I'm using my pick tool to help me get them off of the sticky sheet and put them down where I want them. Okay, so there it is. There's our SIP card, quick and easy, and it shows how we can coordinate the images from our stamp sets with the images on our designer's fingers paper, and then all of our inks, embellishments, and cardstock coordinate as well. So I hope you enjoy the mega Facebook party, and give us some comments. Let us know what you think of our projects, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So enjoy the party, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.